Hey everybody, welcome back to Rice Camera Action. I'm your host as always, Geoff Gaudet, talking to entertainers in Asia and seeing what their lives are like. I'm here with a wonderful and beautiful friend of mine. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is April Lynn, and what else should I say about myself?
Well, what do you do in Korea?
I am a voice actress. I occasionally do some on-screen work, but not that often, and even more rarely modeling because I am not very tall, just a hair under 5'3" with heels on.
Well,
So yes, I am a voice actress.
she's like Tinkerbell, but with a brain.
Oh my gosh, greatest compliment I've heard this year, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks, Geoff.
No problem. No, I'm probably going to learn a lot from this podcast myself. I never, ever, hardly ever get voice work. I get offers like, hey, here's a script. Can you read it and send us back to it? And the next day, which actually I need to do after this podcast, it totally slipped my mind.
Yeah, that does happen.
But so I'm probably going to learn a lot from you from this.
Well,
Yeah. Actually, you were even recording before.
I was, yeah. I just came from a studio right now. Yeah.
So, tell me about that. What was that? The content or whatever?
Okay. So that actually is a project that I was working on over the summer, and they had some script alterations and some additions that they wanted to do. So they called me back today. That's why it was also kind of last minute. She was like, "Are you free?" And I was like, "Okay, I'm free." But yeah, basically what it is, it's kind of cool actually. It's this company that they teach English through teaching the kids about Korean culture, but in English. And so a lot of the stuff that I had to record were things about like Korean history or like Korean architecture, like monuments and stuff, but in English.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's basically like your basic English learning stuff, like listening and like chanting and that kind of stuff. But it's unique in the fact that I've never heard of that style of English language learning before.
Well, I actually like 10 years ago when I first came here, there was something similar, a project, but instead of being like voice recordings or like audio, they would actually have foreigners, other people from other countries. There would be like a 10-page write-up of certain cultural sites and museums, and basically the foreigners would memorize it or like learn like these key question points to ask the students.
Oh, yeah.
And the goal of this was, the foreigners take the foreign staff take these people on a tour, and then through this tour, then the Koreans learn about their culture, but also how to communicate it in English. So that they do, if they do meet someone.
If it's the same company.
It was called, the initials were MS.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not the same company. But anyways, please continue.
Yeah, so like through that, like I know a lot about like the Korean history and all that, like key points.
Yeah, I've been learning a lot too. Actually, today in the script, I learned what the king's farts are called. Do you know what the king's farts are called, Geoff?
No.
It's called tongi.
Tongi?
Specifically for the king. Only for the king.
Because a Korean fart is just pungu.
Just pungu, but not for the king. If the king farts, it's tongi.
Is it stored in like a special box and then buried?
Probably.
In the highest mountain?
I took a photo of it because I thought that was really funny.
I like I said, I'm already going to be learning some stuff from you. But you actually sent me a picture of something.
Which you didn't LOL at or even send an emoji response or anything. You left me on red and I felt so sad.
I left it red, but I just didn't comment. And
So then I was like self-conscious. I was like, is this not funny? Because this is pretty much the stories I have to tell on the podcast. So that's not funny.
Well, yeah.
Oh, no.
Well, you're actually my first voice actor. My first voice actress, and even actress too.
Oh.
Yeah. So you're
am I the first female on your podcast?
Yeah, you're the first female, and we're now into deep water for me. I'm asking questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but what's it like? So you've learned that tongi is.
Yes. Well, and the picture that I sent you yesterday, which I also found very comical, was it was for a textbook that I think is for SAT prep or something similar. Sure. The client was not there, so I don't know exactly what it was, but it was some kind of educational material for a textbook. But it was literally just pages of vocabulary words, like not the definitions, just words. And so I was just reading pages upon pages of words that are going to be in some vocabulary unit later. Anyway, and one of them, it was like all these kind of like medical terms or like geography terms, biology things, whatever. And then suddenly, XYZ, examine your zipper. And I was like,
Yeah.
what?
I thought that's what you wanted. I thought that's what you
What is this?
That's such a slang thing, but I thought that's what you were
It
hinting
was
on.
so out of place. Like there are words like malatrice and like robotic and all these, and then XYZ.
It's like, check your barn doors open.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So strange. So anyway, yeah.
Wow. So like, yeah, for doing the education stuff, it just runs the whole gamut from little childlike expressions all the way to
True.
medical.
That is very
legal
true.
terms.
Yes. Well, and I guess educational type recordings is sort of like my bread and butter. That's the majority of what I do. But as you said, there's a wide range even in that category because I do like stuff for really small kids where I do like character voices or like, you know, for animation or whatever. And then, yeah, there's stuff for like adult students that's very complicated. Sometimes I have to look up, how do I pronounce this word?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yeah, and very occasionally I'll do like video game voices or narrations for like commercials or for presentations, etc. But I would say at least 80% is educational.
I'm not totally ignorant. Like I have dipped my toe a little bit into the voice work, but I find what they want for the education. They want most of the characters are children.
Yes.
And yeah, so I have maybe like a little kid's voice. Like, hey, let's go play baseball.
And that's really good, Geoff.
Did you bring your glove? Tommy, I told you, you should have brought your glove.
I didn't bring a glove today.
Yeah, but because the female voice is much higher, you get the prepubescent.
Well, and
character.
even in like Hollywood and etc., most of the voice actors that voice children are women.
Mm-hmm. Bart Simpson.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, she's one of my heroes.
I don't know the actress's name, but yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank right now. What is her name? Oh, it's Nancy Cartwright.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, like all the Nickelodeon characters are all voiced by females. I know that.
Most of them are. That's very true. Yeah. Those are the most fun, the character voices. I like those the best.
Do you practice at home?
I do actually. For a short time I had like a coach. But these days, yeah, I like to kind of look up stuff on YouTube and I practice by myself, record myself doing things and kind of expand my repertoire of character voices. But yeah, really recently I've been trying my hand at singing a little bit. I'm a fair singer, but I am not a confident singer. But I will sometimes get asked to sing like small things in the voice of the character, like a little
little jingle or put in
and
words
it always
to
catches me off guard, and I always feel so nervous about it. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to practice singing so that if that situation happens, I'm ready for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think this is what I'm missing with the whole voice actor stuff. I just go over the script and find which words I'll probably trip up on or tongue tie me, but that's about it. But
well, even that is a skill in and of itself, because as you probably well know, we hardly if ever get scripts in advance.
Yeah.
So you sit down in the booth and the script and you just have to cold read it and you're like, oh, okay, where do I put the emphasis and how do I, there's no time to prepare.
You get maybe 24 hours noted, like this is a script for, they send it at 10 p.m. and like, we'll see you at 10 a.m. So you have 12 hours.
Well, not in voice acting. In voice acting, that rarely happens.
Okay.
You get the script like as you are about to start recording.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless it's for something like a very big company and they actually have the script in advance, then they might send it to you. But I would say in my like 5-ish years of doing this, I've probably gotten a script in advance maybe 10 times.
Well, I did a video game recording about a month and a half ago, like for blackjack and backgammon.
Oh, cool.
And it was just like going, dealer wins, dealer double win.
Oh, nice.
Or like dealer loses, dealer loses again. But I had the script, the day before, but it was
nice.
It was like 4 pages, and at one point they tried to splice in some Latin, and I didn't even. I'm like,
Like, I do not speak Latin.
I do not speak Latin.
What is
and
this
then
word?
I actually, when I saw it, it's like tensu. And I'm like going, oh, it's like Japanese. Okay, so they'll have the Japanese. And then we show up and like, so I don't even have the source of it. I just
Yeah.
thought it, like, I just saw in parentheses, tensu. I'm like going, oh, they'll have like Japanese or something like that.
Yeah.
No, it turned out to be Latin.
And they
and-
wanted you to do it.
And they wanted to do that. And it's not even pronounced that way. They just use the phonetic English alphabet, but the Latin, and but it really in Latin. I should, if I knew it, I would have contacted my friend. In hindsight,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh shoot, I had some Latin stuff, and like, you probably know what this was. Like, oh yeah, it's like jansu or something like, and it's not even that.
I see.
Yeah,
see.
like when you probably see a Korean word written in English.
Yes.
That's-
Actually, that happened in today's recording several times, and the client was there. She's so nice, and she was like, "Oh, let me just type it out in Hangul for you." And I was like, "That would be much easier, actually,
Yeah.
just sounding it out in Korean, because when it's written in English,
Yeah.
the vowel, I'm like, which vowel is this? I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's so confusing."
Well, you know the food donkas, right? Even the Koreans spell it 5 different ways,
Yes,
even
yeah,
with their
in
own
English.
in English, but even the
Oh,
Korean.
in Korean too. I don't
Yeah.
think I knew that, actually.
Yeah, because like it's a 3-character word, but the first character can be D or T, and then the second character could be like K or G or double G.
Yeah.
Wait, donkasu.
Donkasu.
And then the S is sometimes written as an S or a J or even a CH character because it's actually borrowed from Japan.
Aha.
So it's
See,
like
I'm learning something. I did
but
not
yeah,
actually
like
know
but
that.
you write it, but you could see it 3 different. They spell it even 3 different ways. So to see it in the English alphabet, it looks strange. So you have to
Yeah.
go,
Yeah. Yeah, actually, so I did a recording for the Korean Tourism Organization earlier this year, and that script I did get in advance. And I was really glad because for that reason, there was a lot of landmarks that I had to talk about. And most of them I knew, but some of them I had not even heard of, which seems so shocking to me.
Yeah.
But there was some that I was like, oh, I don't know what this is. And so I had to look up the pronunciation because it was all written in English. There wasn't any Korean. And so, yeah, that was nice to prepare in advance because otherwise I get very stressed out in those types of situations.
what also can happen too is like sometimes you have a short, like you just pop in for 10 minutes and they just want a voiceover for the start of something, but they basically just put a Korean paragraph into Google Translate and then
Oh man, those are interesting. Those are very interesting.
it's like as an outsider, like it could make sense because the words, but like it's not the commonly said expression.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's one? I feel like there's one that comes up really often, and now I can't think of it. Oh, there was one that I was doing a couple of weeks ago, and it was something like that, where I'm pretty sure it just got kind of directly translated from Korean. And the character was talking about like going for walks in nature, like to relieve stress or whatever. But basically, the character, she kept saying like, "I need to refresh myself. I need to refresh myself," which in Korean makes sense, but
Yeah.
in English it just sounds
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. There'd be like, like going, oh, Timothy likes bananas the most. And then you see, well, in Korean, it would be like, oh, Timothy banana da 좋아해. But but in the English, it's like Timothy's preference is the banana shaped one.
Yeah. Or what's another one that comes up a lot? Like, it's something about not changing your mind, but I can't remember now.
But when this
my
does-
mind
when-
is something I can't remember.
When this does happen, do they give you a permission to alter it, to fix it?
That really depends on the client. So some clients that I work with are very eager to have the correct English, and they're very kind of grateful when you are like, oh, actually, this isn't correct. They're like, oh my gosh, please change that for me.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Some clients, like they're not the ones in charge of the script. And so because of the way, the Korean hierarchy works, if they make any changes to the script, they're going to get in trouble.
Yes.
So it has to be recorded like exactly as whoever handed them the script gave it. And so they're like,
Yes.
sorry, like just record it as
You're
is.
there on the basically the recording, the final project is like the final step in there. And
Right.
Like to
And they
go,
don't-
and yeah, to ask like on, hey, can I change this? Like on, well, we've already got, this has already been
Yeah.
cleared by.
Exactly. Sometimes it's already been
management or-
printed or it's already been whatever. And so they don't want you to change it. Occasionally, if it's something that's like really bad, they'll ask you to record two versions, the correct version and the version that's on the script. But 9 times out of 10, they'll just use the one that's already on the script. But that is a really good question because some of my friends will ask me that. They're like, oh, sometimes I hear English voiceovers and the English is terrible. Why is that? Well, that's why.
Well, you're not my only voice actor friend. I know a few of them. And the way that they actually get more work is they'll actually talk directly to the client.
Yeah.
So, and they have a grasp of the Korean. So they just get the Korean dialogue. They'll do the translation. And then also in their home, they have kind of a small recording set up. So this is how they can cut corners and also get the work because they're basically cutting out 2 middlemen. They're cutting out the interpreter, they're cutting out the studio recording, just doing everything by themselves and then giving a whole package price for that.
Yeah, I'm not that fancy. Unfortunately, my Korean is not very good.
Yeah, it's okay.
And I do have some at-home recording equipment, but I don't have like the cool booth.
Well, it's like with the whole pandemic too, like, a lot of the
Yeah.
voice actors, they did the recording, but because of the work that they've actually done here, they've been able to expand internationally to do it other countries.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal, you know, is to kind of be able to branch out internationally for sure.
But when I went in for like even a voice recording, I did pretty well. They were like clapping their hands, like going, "Good job," because like they just like what you were just saying, you get the script when you appear there.
Yeah.
They gave
Oh,
me
yeah.
the script. They just gave me the script, and they're going, "Do this character, okay? Do this emotion." I'm like, okay, devil,
Yeah,
okay,
you just have to
Sahiro.
do it right on the spot.
And I was like,
Right
"Oh
on the
my-"
spot.
And they were very impressed, but yeah, that's because like I come from the improv background, so like I just see. I try to do whatever stupid character that pops in my head.
Yeah, which is great. That's a great skill.
But what the point I'm bringing this up is part of like the interview of this was they were talking about like, hey, we're looking for new voice actors because some of our more reliable ones, they've gotten too big for their britches,
Ooh.
and they now got a taste of the California recording scene, and they're trying, and then they're asking for double, so we need to bring in fresh blood. We can't rely on these people because
Because they're asking for too much.
they're asking for too much. They're asking for American standards.
Yeah. Yeah, which I mean, I understand both sides of it, to be honest. Like, once you have had an experience outside of Korea, especially in like North America, where the conditions are usually like, you know, unionized much better, the pay is more regulated, etc. It is kind of hard to like jump back into something like this. But I also understand that like Korea is not America, and it has its own way of doing things.
I don't. The client will be. I'm not sure if Watermelon English Books can afford you for $1,000 an hour.
Right. Oh my God, $1,000 an hour. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That is part of it, but it's cool that you can think of characters on the spot though, because for me, that's why I practice at home, because I want to have like a bunch just that I can bust out at any time. And then if they're like this, I'm like, I got you. I got this.
Well, actually, you and I have started to meet up more frequently too, because you've started. Actually, I interviewed Brad Curtin and Ken Drennan
Love those
a couple of weeks ago,
Those
and
guys are the best.
and you started to hang out with their Jam Improv group.
That's right. Brad inducted me into his cult very recently. Brad is also a voice actor, as I'm sure you talked with, and
we didn't get to talk much about that. We just with Ken and Brad, we just
all
mostly,
comedy.
It's kind of the improv and comedy because I'm going to actually upload their interview for the Jam show that's happening this week tomorrow.
Yes, it is. It's happening.
But you're going to be
This
taking
Saturday.
part. Yeah,
I am. I'm a little nervous. I have performed in one show before, but it was at the Fantastic Theater with mostly strangers. But this time we're performing at Philly's with a lot of drunk, judgy foreigners. So I'm real nervous about it. I'm not going to lie.
Well, be prepared for drunk foreigners just to go penis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or
Yeah.
like dildo or
Dildo.
something. Oh, yeah. It's all gonna happen. It's
Yeah.
all gonna happen.
But
But yeah, Brad and I had a recording together several months ago, and he basically was like, "You should come to improv," and I was like, "No, improv is totally not for me. I'm not really good at it. I've never really tried it." And he's like, "Well, just come, just try it. Why not?" So I was like, "All right, let me think about it." Da da da. Anyways, he was very persistent. He was like, "Just try it out. Just you can sit in the audience even." All right, I'm gonna try it out. So I did. Got up for a couple of games, and I was like, this is fun. And I still do not claim that I am good at it by any stretch of the imagination, but it is really fun.
yeah, it's
So
like,
yeah, thanks,
yeah,
Brad and Ken.
another name for like improv is like theater sport. So it's game and having fun with that.
Yeah.
It's just,
And I had never done anything performance-wise that didn't have a script.
Yeah.
And so I was pretty terrified, but it actually is, it's so much fun.
Yeah,
It's so much fun.
well, again, this is more my wheelhouse because I'm in front of the camera more,
Yeah.
and you're more behind the microphone,
Exactly.
like now. But yeah,
Technically on camera.
Yes, well, but it also helps in front of the camera just to know like having a concept and being able just to from action get into a character, know what your actions are,
Yeah.
your line, connect them, and make it actually more of a human role than people just standing and just spouting the script.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just saying the lines. It's becoming the character rather
Yeah.
than just delivering the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I feel like it's helped a lot. I wish I would have started doing improv a long time ago because I feel like it's definitely sharpened my skills a bit. It definitely gets me outside of my own head. So, my job is pretty solo. So it's nice to like just be around other actors, to be honest, and other creative people.
Well, that's too. Like, that's more. Yeah, also the steel sharpens steel. Kind of.
Yeah, because I don't have coworkers, I don't have colleagues. I mean, technically I do,
Yeah.
but we don't work together. I will occasionally be paired up with a male voice actor, but it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, you're just stuck with them for an hour, and you just like you grab your coffee. Hey, I'm your partner today. I'm April. Like, oh, hey, I'm whatever Ryan, and you guys just go back and forth for 30 minutes from the script.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, thank you. Well, nice see you at the next time, Ryan.
Yeah, right.
Bye. Have a nice trip home, April.
Yeah. That's what my mom says most of the time. She's like, I don't know how you do your job. My mom is very extroverted. She's like, I don't know how you do it. You're just working alone all the time and you don't have coworkers. I'm like, yeah, I really like that about my job.
There's no annoyance. Like, yeah, sometimes on stage there are people that are very annoying, not paying attention.
You have to learn to work together.
Yeah. Well, you just have to keep your mouth shut while someone's like fucking up everything.
Yeah.
Right? Someone's not paying attention to the director, like on a set.
Or they're doing their own thing.
This is also why, I want to break out and I want to be seen more like a unique individual, because a lot of the actors that I meet, it's just doing extra work. I meet all these people in the background stuff.
Yeah.
And you're trying very hard, but there'll be like some person that's just hiding in the back on their phone, not paying attention.
Right.
And it really bothers me because I'm like, oh,
they're not taking it seriously.
they're not taking it serious.
Yeah.
They're just, an empty husk on the thing that's it's often not even in the right place at the right time because they were just, their mind was somewhere else. Well, I'm trying to actually stand out more. And
right. And even the small pieces of the project are important.
Yeah.
You're at work. Like, don't be on your phone, fucking around in the background. Like, do your job. You're at work. Yes, you have a small part, but you still have a part.
Well, there has been times where people there is right now like a set rate for most background actors, but I've actually gone, hey, you have to pay me more because you need the background extras to fill just the empty space. But every time I'm there, you're throwing me in the front of the camera.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have like a look. You know what I mean? Like you've got the red hair and the beard and the eyes, and you have the look.
I have the
they're
look,
like,
but
this guy, he stands out.
I have the look, but also with the improv, I know the behavior.
You know how to actually be in the scene.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I'm in the scene. I'm doing all this stuff. I don't even need to. I'm not even listening to the manager, the interpreter. I'm listening directly to the director saying, I want this, this, and this. Because also in interpretation, a lot of the instructions
the
get
nuance
left.
could get lost.
Yeah. Because the director is given instructions till he says, okay, action. But the interpreter has to wait for the director to finish and then starts to translate. Well, the actors now still continue to talk while you're given your interpretation, the nuance, and like, this is not right.
Yeah.
And sometimes what's happened is actually I do the scene, listen to the directors, and then after they say cut, the interpreter goes, "Oh, you were supposed to do this, Geoff." And I said, "No." And then the director goes, "Oh, good.
Yeah.
It's good." And like, oh.
Wow, that's really interesting to know. I always wondered that because, as you said, I'm not behind the camera or in front of the camera, I mean, very often. And the couple of major projects that I did, the director was like in a room far away. So like I have no idea what he or she is saying. I'm literally just listening to the person who's telling me things. But I always wondered in the back of my mind, like, I wonder if that's really what the director said or if that's kind of just a loose, interpretation of it or whatever.
Again, this is my thoughts about the popular Korean series Squid Games.
Yes, I think I've heard of it. Maybe.
Maybe I've told you. Well, no, you've heard about this. Okay, Netflix. Well, stop playing around. What happened? It became an international success.
Yeah.
But what happened too? There was like 3 things that ruined Squid Game on the internet, and like one of them was the subtitles.
Yeah, I heard the subtitles.
The English subtitles
awful.
were awful. Again, it's probably going back to the script, just putting something in Google Translate.
Yeah, last minute, hurry.
It's just basically like they were shopping around and they just took the cheapest deal. Another thing was also the English dubbing was pretty bad. They got, instead of actually getting like skilled or like talented voice actors, they opted to get actually Korean. They wanted to do something and got Korean American actors to do the voices, because that's the whole politically correct thing, kind of like they didn't want they were worried that if the other races voice act for an Asian person, it might cause trouble. And then the third thing was the VIPs. And when this all happened, like a lot of the VIPs, they did interviews and they were talking like it's very hard on the set.
Yeah, people don't understand like the situation.
Yeah, they get the script they get the script on site. Oh, they don't really. They're
not allowed to make changes.
They're not allowed to make changes. Yes, correct.
Even if the English is really awkward.
They're not really given the instructions.
Or even necessarily the background. Like sometimes you only know what your scene is about. You don't know the plot of the entire thing.
Exactly. That, and then they weren't given even a lot of instructions while they shot, and they were just talking to like into the just open space.
Right.
Because I had a close-up scene, but it was very awkward, and so like a lot of the actors that were the VIPs, they were like, "Going, hey, no, this is what it's like. It's a very hard environment because we're not really given anything to work with.
Yeah.
We're just given 10 minutes before we're given makeup and our script, and then they're going okay, go help."
Well, yes, and no one knew at the time of filming how popular this show was going to be. So also, I would place good money on the fact that they weren't wasting a lot of time with these scenes. They were like, okay, we got it, go. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think that they did have an idea what is going to, because they hired actually like a good Korean talent.
Well, I think they thought it would be popular in Korea, but I don't think anybody could have known that it was going to blow up the way that it did,
yes,
And so for the scenes that specifically had foreigners in it, I think they were like, oh, this is good enough. You know, like they didn't focus on it as much as they probably should have.
Well, this is always going to be my pet peeve, because, I mean, we can make it better if they actually have more faith and they actually work together with us, but it's
and really a couple of those guys are friends of mine, and I have worked with 2 of them before and can vouch for the fact that they are excellent actors.
Yes.
And that situation was crazy.
Crazy. I think this is another I don't know, but it's basically the problem is like there's so many middlemen.
Yeah.
And everyone took a piece of the pie.
Sure.
So when we don't know how
Yeah.
the scope and how big this project is.
Right.
We just see maybe a smaller amount, and we're going, oh, this is just not gonna. This has no potential at all. If they're just going to be paying us for a small amount for the day, or like a set amount for like 3 days, and we just the amount that we receive is the amount we put out. We're
Yeah.
not
Yeah. You know, fun fact. I'll say it anyways. I was like, should I say this? I'm going to say it. Doesn't really matter. I auditioned to be a background extra in that show and got accepted, but then declined when I found out it was going to be fully nude.
I I auditioned for the VIP number 3 or
Oh.
5, the one that that was gay and and got naked and a gun shoved in his mouth, but I didn't even know they even kept the whole script secret.
Yeah, I didn't know anything except for I was told the scene was in an art class and the main character was participating in one of those where there's like a nude model and they draw. And so the person who contacted me about it was like, it's going to be like simulated that you're nude, but they're not going to see anything but like your back. So you don't have to worry about that. And so, okay, so I, sent my profile, whatever. And she was like, great, they want to use you, da-da-da. Fast forward several months, she sends me this thing being like, oh, so there's going to be body paint involved and blah, blah. And are you okay with like full nudity, like showing everything? And I was like, not at this present moment, thank you, no. And so I declined because I didn't
I heard
feel
the set was very
comfortable.
cool too.
Yeah, and I mean, no judgment at all
Yeah.
to people who are comfortable with that, but I just was not. And so, and then when I saw the show, I was like, oh, that's the scene. Aha, okay. But yeah, I was told it was like an art class.
Right. I was just told it was like the VIPs were like businessmen on like a trip.
Oh.
And so I just well, I wasn't even told that. I was just given this. They said, show up 10 minutes before your audition. And you can see the script. I'm like going, suck my dick. What the hell? Ooh, I like it. On you look yummy. I'm like, oh, and then
You're like, oh, this is like a sexy
and then
scene.
like,
okay.
yeah, you're like, and then you have to be like, oh, like put your head up high and like, oh, that you like it, and then suddenly someone grabs your cock and then shoves a gun in your mouth. I'm like going,
I'm like, what is happening?
What the
What kind of business trip is this?
yeah. So I'm like, okay.
Interesting. Yeah, well, that is a good point then that you brought up that
Yeah,
oftentimes we don't know
I would have
what's
loved
going on.
it. I think in the end, just it was around the time where I had a beard, and it didn't really fit into the concept that they had, where it was like this secret Illuminati that wear animal masks. If I did it, it would have been like I would have the deer mask, and then just bushels of my beard sticking out.
But it did work in The Birth, which I saw you in.
Oh.
That was an excellent look for that part. I was like, oh my gosh, Geoff.
I thought my look was perfect, and I actually just memorized the script in Korean, and I unfortunately I probably my friends that got it did the script in Korean. Sorry, they did it in English. So I'm like, oh man, I guess I should cut my beard too, because it's like that. This really locks me into certain roles.
Yeah, it's a distinct look,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Like even there was a French admiral. Like he was cleanly shaved, and then every day they would just glue a mustache on him and long
The little chops.
mutton chop sideburns. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bummer. That's a bummer.
So
Actually, one of my friends had a role in that movie, and I just recently played the voice of his daughter in a short film that he did. And I think that's the reason why I'm mentioning that. I think it's a funny story because it's the second time in our lives that I have played his daughter in a production. He's not even that much older than me.
yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Well, I guess what I could also ask you, is there a role or a voice project that you've done that you've really enjoyed?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I feel really, this is going to sound cheesy, but it's true. I feel so grateful for my job, honestly. I really like what I do. And so, there's so many that I have really enjoyed.
Right.
I guess.
Or even a character. What's your
Yeah.
favorite?
Well,
What's your
that's what I
favorite
was gonna
character
say. I guess
to go to?
the types of characters that I like to do are sort of like the really like cute, bubbly ones, because those are the voices that I feel like I do really well.
Okay.
And so I love to have kind of like, I did one actually quasi recently. It's for like a small YouTube series. It's not out yet, so I won't say the name. But anyway, there's like a bunch of these little characters, and they're all kids, and they go to the moon or something, and they meet like a bunch of space characters. And the client was like, just make whatever kind of voice you want for the, because I did the voices of every single character in this animation, 9 altogether.
Wow. Okay.
So she
you
was
got
like,
you got little 9 bubbly characters.
well, they're not all bubbly, but the ones that were the most fun were the ones that were kind of like the silly, bright characters or whatever. But that was a lot of fun because I knew the whole story, so I know what's going on, and like, yeah, like kind of, okay, what are these kids doing, and what's going to happen, and how does this character come in, and so it was great knowing the entire story, and just being able to kind of like have the creative freedom to think up whatever kind of voices I wanted for all the characters. And that client was so lovely. She like really liked everything I did, so it's a nice confidence boost. She was like, "This is great. This is exactly what we had in mind." So we kind of were on the same wavelength, because that's something that is a little tricky in the booth as well, especially with sort of, I will use your phrase, Google Translate type of speaking English, for like speaking to Koreans. Korean clients, they will try really hard to sort of describe like a mood or like something that they want the character to be. And they have like a particular voice in their head, but they don't necessarily know like how exactly to communicate that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not even a language barrier. You could be speaking the same language as someone and still have a hard time. But anyway, they'll use these very kind of vague adjectives like bright or dynamic or like etc. And you kind of have to sort of figure out like, okay, do you mean this? Do you mean this? And sometimes it takes a few tries to get the voice where they're like, yes, that one, that's the one I want. But with this particular client, I just kind of somehow like knew what she was talking about, and all the voices, I was like, what about this for the space dinosaur? And she was like, oh my God, amazing, you know? So it was just a good vibe. I liked that one.
Well, something that it just popped in mind listening to that whole story is like, again, going back to the whole thing, we get the script on the spot.
Yeah.
Is there any time that you've been in a recording and then you've had to basically double back because like, okay, we want like an explosive high energy thing. And then like you give it like a 9. You go like there's gradually like going, damn. And then like, and then you, the next page, they're asking for a really explosive. You're like, shit, I just gave you, I gave you a big thing. If I knew there was this progression and like when there was even something more, the 10.
Well, and sometimes even in some of those educational recordings that we do, like there'll be dialogues for situations that happen in an office, for example. And, you know, you start reading it just naturally. And then as you read the conversation, you're like, oh, this person's pissed off. You know, like they use their laptop without asking or whatever. But you don't know that until you get to the end. So, yeah, like being kind of like a speed reader is really like a skill that is useful in voice acting, because you can kind of like...
That's where I'm failing.
Yeah.
That's where I'm failing.
Honestly, it's something that people don't think about, but being able to like read quickly and like read ahead and kind of like scan and understand like fast is really helpful as a voice actor.
Yeah.
You can kind of just glance and be like, oh, okay, got it. And it makes the job much more difficult if you can't do that.
Yeah. I think my problem is, but I mostly just gleam it, and sometimes I'm trying to speed read, and there's a similar word though that I might see one word, but I just see the first letter.
Yeah,
and it's a similar
and you just
word.
assume that that's the word it is. Yeah,
yeah, like when this is harmful, but then like like you shouldn't go there. This is harmful, and like but really it's like you shouldn't go there. This is hazardous. I'm like wrong adjective or wrong verb.
Yeah. Well, and from what I understand, like that's kind of how the human brain works while reading, like in your head.
Yeah.
You kind of like, your brain like tries the word and then figures it out as you go. But, you know, when you're reading out loud and recording, like you don't have the luxury of like doing that exactly.
I did like a voice, it was kind of a recording, and I was a doctor, and I was supposed to say B1 and B2 as well as other B vitamins. I'm like on B1, B12, and other B vitamin. I kept I kept going, just saying B12. She said, you said B12.
Geoff, you said B12 again.
You said B12 again. I'm like, well, that's the good one.
That is the good one.
That's the good one. That's the healthy one, not B1 and B2.
Wow. I don't even know what you would find B1 and B2 in?
This was like a vitamin for actually like sleep recovery. Like,
Oh,
and so like the it was a pharmaceutical product, and like for a lot of the nutrients to be absorbed, you like most of the vitamins only have like B1 and B2 in it. But for all the nutrients inside the vitamin to actually be properly absorbed, you should have the whole spectrum from 1 to 12.
I did not know this. That's very interesting.
Well, like it's again like nutrition. Everyone, we're still learning stuff.
True.
Yeah.
That is very true. But yes, all that long-winded story to say that was probably my favorite project to date because I got to do all the characters
So
myself.
a YouTube project that's just coming out. It will be coming out very soon.
I think sometime next year. I don't know exactly, but yeah, when it is up and running, I will send you the link and
Okay. Right.
probably post it on my Instagram or something.
Well, I guess where we at? Oh, we're at 40 minutes already. Wow.
Hey.
So is there anything else you would like to say before we cut it off?
Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything in particular.
We were talking a lot of personal life before
We
just
were.
started, before
were.
the microphone got turned on. So
We were.
I let her ramble for about 12 minutes.
Yeah, maybe like a full 12 minutes. Thanks,
Yeah,
Jeff.
but
I had a story. It was on my mind. I was like, I gotta get this off my chest.
She got it off her chest. She's like,
did.
listen, I'll try to give it a short 12 minutes later. I'm like, hey, I would like to start recording, but
It really was like a 2-hour saga, and I truncated it to 12 minutes.
you got
so-
all the poison out,
I
and
did.
then now
I
you were
did.
able
I
to have
really
it unplugged.
appreciate it. Actually, it was driving me crazy.
Yeah.
It was nice to get it out.
Well, yeah, don't
Appreciate
worry.
that, Jeff.
No
Yeah.
worries. Anyways, do you have an Instagram or any social media?
I
like to
do.
plug?
I'm on Instagram. My Instagram account name is a little bit long, but bear with me. It's April_Lynn LYNN _777.
777.
That is
like
my
the
Instagram.
casino.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I do have Facebook, but I never use it. Who uses Facebook anymore? My mom. That's who.
I have to use it for my family.
Yeah. I mean, I don't post anything on it, but my mom's on there. So, anyways, yeah.
Well, once again, thank you, April, for coming in and
Thanks for
doing the
inviting me.
shoot with Rice Camera Action.
I'm so
And
glad I
hope
could
to
be here.
invite you back very soon.
That would be great.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.